It's a competition clinching shot. Whoa! How about that?
The LET Golf Podcast, the official podcast of the Ladies European Tour.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the LET Golf Podcast. I'm George Cooper, and after a few weeks off, the pod returns this week as the Ladies European Tour heads to Delhi for the Hero Women's Indian Open. We have only 4 events left of the 2023 season. Denmark's Smilla Tarning Sønderby is this week's guest, as she stops by to reflect on her emphatic maiden victory at the KPMG Women's Irish Open, as well as everything from leaving college to turn pro, looking up to fellow Dane Nicole Broch Estrup, and her love for travelling the world. So without further ado, and joining me live from India, this is Smilla Tarning Sønderby on the LET Golf Podcast. Smilla, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of the LET Golf Podcast. We're here in India, obviously 4 events left of the season. I know you had an incredible win in Ireland, but just, give us a wrap-up of the season so far. How's it been going for you?
I mean, I've had a pretty good season, I would say. I'm pretty satisfied with what I have done up until now. I definitely have some highlights of the season. I had, a 3rd place in Helsingborg, did some fun stuff there, and topped it with the one in Ireland. And just, seeing everything trending in the right direction. So it's been a pretty cool season so far. Yeah,
and we'll get straight to Ireland then. I mean, I know it's now been a couple of months. Has it sunk in yet? You're obviously a winner on the LET and a winner in such an emphatic way. I mean, going into the final day, I think 9 shots behind and going on to win. Has it sunk in yet?
I mean, I must admit, I still, go back and watch the videos a bit, over and over. And every time I watch it, I watch that final video where, you can see in my face, I realize I just won. It still hits me. I'm like, damn, I get very emotional still when I watch that because it was just so big, And, I mean, it has sunk in, but it's still very big for me, yeah.
And I'm always curious with winners, and especially first-time winners, what's it like the day or two after? How many messages did you get on your phone, for example? It must have been crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of messages, and I think it was a lot with all the journalists reaching out, and people want to hear from you, and you're basically just saying the same things over and over again, and also realizing some things, having those interviews and conversations after, but it was a lot, especially, the week after, it was a lot, and also we drew the week after and just took some time to relax a bit and chill and let everything sink in. It was a lot, but it was a lot of good things as well. So I had.
And obviously coming from Denmark, I know we just spoke off there about you got a photo shoot this week, and obviously they'll be covering that victory. Hello. Oh, thank you so much. Look at this. Some water.
Thank you.
On the podcast. Appreciate it. 6 waters, apparently. It's just 2. That's fine, so yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, so saying, how big a deal was that back in your home country of Denmark, of course? Did you get a lot of publicity in the press? How was it from a domestic point of view?
I would say it was pretty big. We haven't had a win on the Ladies European Tour since Emily. So it was quite big. Obviously all the Danish golf magazines was writing about it, and also the national TV stations, said some words about it. So it was quite cool. Yeah, knowing the national news. I on the day after my win, I checked the news, and it was Caroline Wozniacki and Højlund and all the biggest sports stars we have in Denmark, and then my name was there, and I was like, whoa, okay, it's pretty big what I just done,
Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, just tell me about that final day, 62 to win. Like I said, 9 shots behind. When you woke up that morning, I mean, was there a feeling, okay, I'm going to play well today? Was there a feeling it's, the leaders are catchable, Amandam obviously at the top? What was your mindset going into that day, and how did it change throughout the day as well as you perhaps got closer towards the top of the leaderboard?
I think, I knew I could go very low on the course. I shot 7 under last year, 8 under, I think 7, 8 under last year. And I just had a funny feeling. I was in a very good mood that morning, and, we really just had fun on the course. We had some experiences from last year at the same place, same course, with the rounds that went low there, where we just, had some fun games. We just were laughing a lot during that round, we kind of just, had fun from the first hole, and we just kept it going. And I think I found a super good rhythm on the front nine, because there's not a lot of birdies on the front nine on the course. They're kind of all, on the back stretch. But I just kept making birdies on the front nine, so I got very, very calm, because I also knew there was some birdies waiting for me on the back nine. And then I think I was like 500 after the first line. I was like, dang, okay, I can go low today. And then, as I said, it was like this nice rhythm of making birdie, making par, making birdie, making par. It wasn't this like crazy, 6 birdies in a row streak. And also on the back nine, I missed like 3 putts within 6 feet. So, I felt like, I didn't just hold everything.
Yeah.
I also missed some things. I was just playing really, really good, So,
it could have been 59.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of one of my Tristan. I met Tristan right after the 18th hole, and he was like, Smilla, you just shot 10 under. And I was like, what? I thought it was maybe 7 or 8 under. I didn't really keep count of it. And then I was like, dang, I missed those 3 short ones, and then I realized it could have been 59,
Nice.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But you just spoke there about there was sort of a calmness to you that day, even going into the back nine.
Yeah.
How did that then change in the playoff? Obviously, going up against Anne, was it still a calmness on you going to the tee? I know there was all the drama that happened, but how was it then in the playoff for you? And obviously that incredible eagle,
Yeah, I think when we were waiting for them to finish, we went up to the range, and it was so calm up there. And actually, we had a funny little incident where I gave out, all my gloves after the round, so I didn't have a glove. And then out of nowhere, I was in the playoff. And I think when we were sitting watching the playoff on the range, and I realized I was going to be in the playoff, because it looked, like I wasn't going to be in it for a very long time until Anne missed the putt on the last. And I think when she missed it, that was probably where I got the most nervous the whole day, because I was like, now I'm actually going to be in this playoff. And I told Mika, I was like, okay, I'm really, really nervous now.
Yeah.
But I think we did a smart move in going up to the range and just kind of staying in it, staying in the mindset of we might have to go out and play again. And and then all those things happened with Anne. And I think as soon as we got down to the tee and when we started playing, when Anne was like, let's play now, let's,
just get on
let's
with
do it, then we're just in it again. Yeah. Not nervous, just doing our thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there, sadly, but I was actually watching on the train.
Yeah.
I was in the Netherlands. It was a week before that, wasn't it? And I was like, wow. But one thing that struck me was how much of a popular winner you were, and obviously everyone coming on in the aftermath, the champagne and whatnot. So just what does it mean to you, having your fellow peers come on like that, and obviously all the congratulation messages that come in afterwards? What does that mean to have that from your fellow tour friends?
It was so. That's actually that specific scene, when Nicole and Maiden and Clara came in with that champagne, especially Nicole being a person I have been looking up to. I get chills saying it now, but I have been looking up to her, for so many years, and comparing my swing and my game to hers, and also being inspired by her as a person, and that she was the one that celebrated me there and came in and giving her a hug. It felt that it really meant a lot there. And I think she was also last year one of the first people I talked with after, where I told her, I'm not ready to be in the playoff last year, and that was the first thing I told her when I won there. I was like, I was ready now.
No,
and
ready,
she was like, she also said, Smilla, you're ready now. It was a cool moment, very cool moment.
Yeah. And obviously as your compatriot, how much of a help has she been throughout your career? I know she's a little bit older, and you said you looked up to her. So what sort of words of advice has she given throughout the years that's maybe stuck with you, and just how much of a help has she been?
So we never really played in the same tournaments up to last year. So obviously, she has been to some of our national team practice camps since I was a junior girl. And she has always, everyone out here knows that, she's very open with her feelings, and she is very good at sharing things. All her experiences and her thoughts, everything basically, So I think we are kind of similar, personality-wise, and, being structured and overthinking a bit too much sometimes, and we have a lot of similarities in that way. So I think everything she has been sharing is something I have been able to relate to a lot for many years, and she has kind of been my, mentor. I would say, the last, 3-4 years, and someone I could text and ask for advice, and she's very helpful.
Absolutely. And how has that transition from you been? It's your second season on tour now, and we'll get to sort of your golfing upbringing in a minute, but how have you found sort of adjusting from going from college? Because you're only 1 year in college, right?
Yeah, it was 1 semester and 2 months.
Yeah, and then going straight into pro and getting through Q school. Like, how did you find that transition?
That transition came, a bit faster than I thought it would come. But I always say, I met my boyfriend Nicole in between there. So like right after I dropped out of college and before I went to Q school. And we kind of just started that journey together, at Q school. So it was kind of, it just made it way easier that we started it together, and I had that person to share everything with and do everything with in the transition. So it made it way easier that we learned it together,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just reflecting on this season then again, I know you had a couple of really good rounds in South Africa. Then perhaps maybe more of a low point in the season. I remember we spoke in Lasea and you said, you'd perhaps been having some off-course issues and some mental struggles, but sort of you were overcoming that now. What do you think has been the turning point in this season? And can you sort of open up a bit more on that?
Yeah. I know, I've been thinking a lot about it. It has been quite an interesting season, actually. Yeah, now I say it, because I showed, in the beginning of the season, I could shoot really low. And I was in contention all the time, and it was kind of, very low and then high, and very low and very high. And then, as you said, we had this weird period where I would make the cuts. Like, I made all the cuts, but it was, I just made the cuts. It wasn't anything crazy. And then I think I had my coach with me in Helsingborg. And we had a really cool experience just the days before that, where I played the US Open qualifier in Belgium, where we were kind of close for, to qualify there. And on the last 9 holes in the qualifier, we kind of came up with this, okay, no bullshitting term, sorry for my words, but it was like, okay, now, no bullshitting, let's just make some birdies now. Let's, attack kind of. So I think it was the combination of having my coach with me the week after in Helsingborg and just feeding off that experience of, just not reacting on all those like insecure thoughts and just, just do your thing, just do the things. And having him there to guide me a bit, in that direction as well. We just found something really cool there. And then, we had a good week there, finished 3rd, shot low, and I just kept riding on that wave, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And then let's just go back then, because we like to do this on the podcast, sort of to your golfing journey. So for those that might not know, how did you get into golf? How was the golfing scene like back in your country? How did your game develop? How did you end up in college? So how did you get into golf, first of all?
So my parents were playing golf before I was born even. And then they built a house right next to the golf course in my hometown. So I basically grew up on the golf course. It was, my backyard. The 10th hole was like 200 meters away. So they would take me, in the stroller on the golf course. I would watch my dad play terrible golf, and I would laugh a lot of him. And I think when I was 4, the club manager asked, why isn't she just becoming a member? She's over here all the time anyways. And my parents thought, she's 4, she can't be a member. And he was like, no, let's sign her up. And I started, going to junior practice and just had fun with it. And then I was kind of, the only girl for many years in my home club there, and started beating the guys and, had a lot of fun with that and got very competitive with those guys, and obviously also playing a lot with my parents when I was younger. And then I guess we figured I was a bit good at it, I had some talent, and they started taking me to some national junior practice. It's called DJGA, where I met a really, really good coach. So I started there when I was 10, and really got into it. I got really interested in. I also played a lot of other sports at the same time, but it got really interesting when, they started driving me to those practices, and I was around all those other kids who was kind of talented, and then we were competing all the time. It was really cool. So I think, from a very young age, my parents, showed me in the right directions, basically, and just learned a lot of good things from a young age, I guess. And then became a part of the junior national team, and then I actually, when I was 16, I moved to this Sports Star College, which is like a high school in Denmark, like a sports high school. So I basically moved out when I was 16 and just played golf, studied, and then I got a very inspiring roommate during those years, who was like 1 year older than me, and I was very much looking up to her, just following her footsteps and just learning from her. She showed me a lot of good discipline and grinding. We were working really, really hard during those 3 weeks up there. And then, she was going to college, and I was like, might, just follow her, do the same thing. And played a lot of international tournaments during those years, and the college coaches were out and scouting, and got some college offers and went for some visits, and ended up at Ole Miss. And came in there, it was like during COVID, it was 2020.
Right, okay.
So I came in like 1 semester later than I was supposed to. So I started in January, and when I committed to Ole Miss at University of Mississippi, they were like ranked 43 in the country. I would be on the team, and it was like a good place to be, I guess. And then when I actually came over there, they were ranked 4th in the country.
Wow.
So they had, gotten in some really good players, and they had developed a lot in the meantime. And I was fighting a lot, for the spot on the team when I got there, and it was rough. It was really, really competitive. And then we won the national championship that semester when I got there. And I think, I was freshman there, and everything was just crazy. It was still COVID. Everyone was wearing masks. I couldn't, really keep up with school because I couldn't, I didn't know what the teachers were saying, and it was hard. Then I went home for the summer break and went over there again with one of my Danish friends. And then I dropped out after 2 months and just wanted to play amateur golf, go home back to Denmark, play amateur golf, and just get better, because I wasn't really that good of an amateur. Like, I never won any international tournaments, and I was like 200 or something on Wager. So I was like, okay, I need to prove a bit more to myself, and before I feel like I can turn pro. And then we're like, okay, let's try and play the LAT Q school, just to see, where is the level at there, and what do I need to improve in order to be able to do that, Went down there, met Nicole, and and then I got a card, and we're like, okay, what do we do now? And, talked to my coach and my parents, who were like, okay, it's pretty good timing in your life, let's just, let's jump into it. And then, the rest is...
So you met your boyfriend at Q school? Or you...
so we met like the summer before Q school. Yeah.
And how big a help has he been? Not just at Q school, but since then. I know we see you caddies for you, right?
Yeah, so he's full time for me now, and has been since we met each other, basically. So we're a team, and we've been from the start, and he's a big part of it. We have an apartment now in Denmark, live together, and he's a big part of it.
Yeah, lovely. And just going back to that Q school experience, then we hear a lot of stories on the LET about, sort of two sides to it sometimes. I think some players go into it with not an expectation, and then it's less pressure and they end up thriving, which sort of sounds a bit more like your situation.
Yeah, it was.
And then obviously some that say, how stressful it is, horrible. So sort of just tell me where you fit in that sort of, situation, and how was it for you?
Yeah, so I definitely went in there with no expectations. And it was a bit ironic, like after I qualified, the biggest Danish media were like, Danish golf player went down to Spain to have fun, and suddenly she's on LAT. And I was like, it was not just to have fun, but I went down there with an intention of, seeing where my level was at and what I need to do. but I definitely played without any pressure of having to qualify. Like it wasn't, I wasn't under stress of doing it, and I felt that was really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving into the LET, I know we just spoke about the transition, but sort of other than obviously winning an Ireland, what have sort of been your highlights so far on tour?
Oh, other than Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, highlights.
Other than Ireland.
Qualified for the US Open last year. That was big.
At the Bucks, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I shot 5 under in the first round of qualifier there, and that was just super fun. Didn't check any leaderboards, didn't know anything, could just feel from the people around me that I was kind of in contention, and not checking any leaderboards in the second round, and then messed it up on the last 2 holes in that qualifier. I made like bogey and double bogey, and I was like, okay, I lost it, I'm out. Yeah. And then again, I met Tristan right after, and he was like, Smilla, you're in, and I was like, no, shut up, you know. But yeah, and then we qualified, went there, and that was a huge experience.
Yeah, that was amazing. Where was it when you played?
It was at Pine Needles.
Oh wow, amazing!
Yeah, it was first time I saw the best players in the world, and just standing next to Lydia Ko on the first day on the range, I was shaking, and I was like, "Can I have a picture with you?" And being super starstruck there, it was really, really cool experience.
Yeah, and how has that changed now? I know, especially in like the Ramco events, for example, you rub shoulders with a lot of players like that. Yeah. How has that changed for you now, and especially being a winner on tour? Like, is it still that level, or it's changed now?
I mean, it has changed a bit because we have seen them a few times now. The stars out there. Yeah. But I actually, like last week or 2 weeks ago in Hong Kong, when Lia Wu, still when I see her right next to me, we're putting next to each other, I'm like, damn, she's like number 1 in the world. It's a bit crazy. But at the same time, having played with them in the same fields, obviously they're still some levels higher than I am. But, I kind of seen, okay, it's not that far up to their level. And I think, just going 1 year back, I thought, okay, I'm pretty, far away from where they're at. But now it's kind of cool to see I'm getting closer,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I know it's such like a cliche question, but so what are your goals? Because you're still only 22, right? Is that, how old are you?
23.
23, so you're still obviously young. You're now a winner on tour. Like, do you now have like a set list of goals, or are you just, the cliche, taking it one tournament at a time? But especially now being a winner, like, how does it change your mindset and your goals?
Yeah, I think my goals haven't changed that much. I still want to go to LPGA. I want to play, in the fields with the best players in the world. But I'm not in a rush. As I just said, I'm 23, and 1.5 years ago I was still an amateur. Like I'm really not in a rush. And like we're talking about, should we go play Q School this year for LPGA second stage? And I think we just want to do, a more natural, smooth transition to that. So, if I end up in the top 10 on the order of merit, it's natural we're going to go to final stage and try to, to qualify for over there. But yeah, so I think the goal has become this year now to finish in the top 10 on order of merit. Yeah. So I need to go some low scores now. But I'm also like, if I don't finish there, it's also okay. And I'm, really happy to play a full season next year on LET and being able to actually make my own schedule for next year. That's going to be really nice. But then it's definitely, a goal for next year. We want to look at LPGA. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And how do you find it all, some of your age, like all the travelling, like where's your favourite place other than Ireland, of course? You're basically like an adopted Irish player.
Other than Ireland, because that is the favourite.
But like where's the best place you've been, and where's perhaps the favourite place you've been? Unless it's the same answer, but tell me.
I love Cape Town.
Okay.
Cape Town is cool. And I think I'm just such a huge fan of, the nature at the places we go. I feel the nature, just how I'm feeling there, and the culture of the places. And I think Cape Town was really cool. Where else have we been?
Yeah. Must have liked Kenya then as well, all the wildlife.
Kenya was cool as well, obviously. Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah. Finland in last year when we played with Poland.
Yeah.
that was really nice as well.
Yeah.
Cool
Finland was
place.
probably like my favourite place this year, so
Yeah.
hopefully that was even better. I don't know where we're going next year, but it should be good, yeah.
It was nice.
Nice. And sort of enough about the golf then. You mentioned obviously nature there, but like what else do you like to do in your spare time when you're not on the road? You mentioned other sports as when you were young, but what does Smilla like to do in her spare time?
So actually last week we had this break last week, and we went to Thailand for snorkeling.
Oh wow.
So, I enjoy things under the water. Also underwater, but under the water I'm very fascinated by that. And I think I have this kind of creative side that I like to take pictures and go very much into the detail with like pictures, getting the small, beautiful things. So I'm also a bit into like painting, trying to do this like wall piece right now at home.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, some creative things and a lot of sport. Yeah, we, play a bit of tennis, a bit of paddle. My boyfriend, Miguel's mom, is a tennis coach, so she's trying to help me a bit with that. Not going that well, but we're trying. But yeah, we watch a lot of sport, watch a lot of football, a lot of tennis.
Who's your team in Denmark?
Football. I have to say FC Midtjylland.
Okay, yeah.
You know that,
Yeah.
It's where I lived those 4 years up there.
Yeah, I remember they played. I sure they played Man United in Europe one year. Recently.
I think they're in the
rings a
group
bell.
with FC Co right now.
This season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this season. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And when you were young, you played football when you were young, or
Nope.
just
No,
watching it?
I would break my legs if I did that. I played badminton.
Okay.
Yeah, in like the off seasons. Did some dancing when I was like very little. Yeah.
Very good. Nice. Well, to wrap this up, then we like to just sort of hit you with some quick fire questions. So, first of all, when you mentioned some of them, but sort of who are your best friends on tour?
Must be Pia, Amalie, maiden, Nicole. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Well, I said favourite holiday destination, so you give me your favourite tour spot, but is that the same?
No, it's not the same. No.
Where's your favourite?
Where we were last week, to be honest.
Okay, in
Yeah,
Thailand.
Thailand, Koh Tao, the small diving island.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's paradise.
So you like more beach than city?
Definitely.
Yeah, beach.
I can't say hate, but I really don't like big cities. I don't,
Okay.
Not at all, no.
Yeah. What's your favourite food?
Thai.
Thai food. Sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
Favourite music? What do you like to listen to in your spare time?
Danish music.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of vibe?
So I kind of pop, but corny vibe, I guess. Like very like calm music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Calm.
Do you listen to? Are you like when you're on the range? You listen to music?
No,
or you just
never.
Not like a warm up song or anything like that.
No, I used to do that when I was younger, and it was very pump up, warm up songs. Yeah, getting really confident. But no, I haven't done it since I was like 13. Yeah, I like to hear the contact with the ball, and we don't have the music on the course when we play, so
no,
I don't see the.
That's true. Yeah. I'm like that a bit with running. Running, people always listen to music when they run, but I'm like, if you do a race, you then can't have music. So why do it when you? And I think it's sort of similar with golf.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have you got any? I feel like you might. I'm not sure. Any like golfing superstitions?
I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't.
I don't know why. You
don't
struck me as someone that might have had them. I'm not sure. I don't know where. Like. Just
but again, it's kind of
but-
crazy because when I was younger, like until I was like 16, I think I had so many. Like I had so many. I had to wear like a certain pair of earrings. I had to play with a certain number on the ball. Same marking every time. I had those this thing I had to have in my pocket. Like I had so many things.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, but all those I just stopped caring. A bit about those things and started thinking about what actually matters. I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And who were your like heroes growing up? Doesn't have to be golf, but who did you look up to?
I actually never really had that one person.
Yeah.
Hannah Montana, I guess.
That is a different one. That might be the best answer so far.
Yeah, I think.
Montana.
I looked up to Hannah Montana quite a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I don't have an answer. No.
That's fine. We'll go with Hannah Montana. Favourite golf course?
Dromoland.
Dromoland, of course. Yeah.
Dromoland Castle.
It's got to be, yeah. And final one then, if you could have play golf with 3 other people, dream 4-ball, which 3 you pick, and it doesn't have to be golfers. People always say golfers, but
I actually thought about this question recently.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought about it. I saw someone else answer it and I was like,
yeah,
and I came up with something really good. And now
Oh,
of course,
no.
I can't remember it now, but
Yeah.
I think I'll play with Nicole, my girlfriend. And no, you know what? I would just play with my mom, my dad, and Nicole.
beautiful. Which course?
Fredericia Golf Club, my home course where I grew up.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that? Is it sort of linksy or
Park, just
apartment? Yeah, just
yeah.
perfect. Do you get to go back much and play, or
No, that's the thing.
that's why it's
it's where I grew
Yeah.
up, and I haven't played the full 18 holes since I was 14. And I lived like the ironic thing, the stupid thing is I live literally like 100 meters away from it now.
Yeah.
I grew up, right next to it, and now we just moved to the other side of it in that apartment, and still haven't played 18 holes there. So it's
Perfect.
I love to do that.
Yeah. I think that's a nice one to end it on then. Smilla, thank you so much for joining me here in India.
You're very welcome.
Bit of a rogue podcast this week, but no, thanks for coming, and good luck this week, and good luck for the rest of the season, especially for the race.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
soon.
Broch.
Thank you.
It's a competition clinching shot. Whoa! How about that?
The LET Golf Podcast, the official podcast of the Ladies European Tour.